Hey gang, this is Jamie from youthministrytoolbox.com. I'm driving right now, and we just got back, our team just got back from California, where we had a chance to meet with a couple of churches and benchmark with them to find out what they're doing well. And so the first church that we went to, of course, was Saddleback. And that team there, Josh Griffin and his team of high school, just working with high school ministry, and they opened up there's a whole student ministry to us and to our team. And we had a chance to walk around their student building, which is just one of the best student buildings I've ever seen. And it's called the Refinery. And so a couple things that we're going to walk away with, just meeting with their team. We had a chance to go out to dinner with Josh and some of the junior high guys. And they just opened up and just talked about what they're doing well and some things that they're working on. I just appreciate those guys and just their heart for student pastors. It was real evident. But some of the things that we're going to walk away with, meeting with Josh, and if you know Josh, you can go to morethandodgeball.com. You can take some of their ideas and rip off some of their ideas. He posts everything about student ministry, and just a great place for you to benchmark without going to California and seeing Saddleback. But morethandodgeball.com, check that out. One of the things that we learned, first of all, was student involvement. They do a great job with student involvement. And we realized, I know on my campus, we don't really do a good job with our student ministry, with students that are involved on stage, greeting people, just using students to run the program. And so they did a great job. That night, of course, they had students that ran the whole thing. But one of the things that just really stuck out in my mind, they had students greeting at the door. They were passing out pens, they were passing out their outlines to write on. And then that night they had students doing the welcome, and then of course they had students that night teaching, and I just walked away from that, and that's one thing our team walked away from that and thought, you know what, we need to get students involved. This is their ministry, we want them to own it, and they did a great job of just having students own their ministry. Yeah, that was even in junior high. They had students on stage, and the worship band was just students, and you just walked away thinking, man, that is student ministry. That is how you should do student ministry. And students are involved, they own it, and there's a great just feel for student ministry. Another thing we walked away with is their environment. Of course, they have a great building. It's called the Refinery. You can go online and check that out. There's no way that our campus is going to have a refinery like that. But as you walk in, you look around and some things that you could actually pull off in your setting. Of course, I have a youth room called United, and one of the things that really stuck out to me and my team, some of the guys on the team, was that the way they used their space. The first thing was the way they paint the walls and how Scripture was everywhere in their building. And some of the things that I could pull off was they had banners that were just made out of sheets and the Scripture painted on it, and you could tell that maybe a student did that or for whatever reason they used a sheet. And I thought, that's something I could definitely pull off in my ministry. It's inexpensive, but it adds to the environment. Another thing they had was on the walls. They had Scripture on the walls, but it's like every wall had a theme, and of course their mission statement, their purpose statement was everywhere, which I love. And as students come in, they know that this is what they're about. One of the walls that stuck out to me is the wall with it was a map of where Saddleback is, and it had all the schools on there that they pull from. And I thought it was great, and a great way, just very strategic, to tell their kids, hey, this is what we're about. These are the schools that we're trying to reach in this area, and let's go after that. And I just was a great visual. I thought that's something definitely I could do with our room, without a lot of money. I could do that, and just gives a great visual to our students. This is what we're about. And also another thing in their environment, in their space, was the way they use couches and chairs. We have some couches, we have some chairs, and some tables that we made in our area, and they just had them everywhere so that a student could come in and just do community with their friends. They could sit all these different places. Also great for small groups that come in, and they could have a small group around these tables. I just thought, man, that is something that I don't do that well. I don't think through that. Just kind of put couches and chairs out. And so that's something I'm going to walk away with, going, okay, I can be very strategic about where I place my couches, where I place my chairs. Can students and leaders get around these chairs and these couches and just do life together? I thought they did a really good job at that. Another thing that when we talked to Josh, I just thought this was brilliant. And some of the things that we think we're doing well, and then you realize, oh, this is something that I'm not doing so well, is they're really going after their volunteers. They're trying to care for their volunteers, and so they had a system where they had, if they called a volunteer, they were able to put it in the system and know how many times a volunteer was contacted, text message, checked up on, they brought cookies to, or whatever they were trying to do to care for that volunteer. And that's one of the things that I'm going to walk away with, going, okay, I don't do really a great job at caring for my volunteers, and they did a great job. And so that's something definitely I'm going to try to put in place. Something easy I could do is to keep myself in check and my team to go, okay, am I really caring for my volunteers? Can I care for at least 10 volunteers, and my other coordinator care for 10, and that's 20 volunteers right there we can care for in a semester. So those are some things that we're walking away with, was, of course, student involvement, environment, and then care of our adult leaders. So I love Saddleback, always have. I love Doug Fields, Josh Griffin, and those guys there. I've been using their resources for over 14 years, Doug Fields and those guys, and I feel like I've almost used all the resources on their website. And I remember when it was called Making Young Lives Count, and then it was Doug Fields, and then now it's, of course, simplyyouthministry.com. And so I would say, hey, head over there. There's great resources that you can use in student ministry, and great ideas for you at morethandodgeball.com. And again, this is Jamie Starrett, just some things that we learned at one of the churches, Saddleback. In a couple of days, I'm going to post another one talking about Mariners Church, and over there with Matt McGill and how he opened up his church, what we learned there too. So hope you have a great week. Praying for you guys. And again, this is Jamie Starrett with youthministrytoolbox.com. Have a good one.